and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. It's a quickie, it's a gentle one. Blinds still down. It's 32 degrees today. But I've got 6 books to show you. Books that I've recently... Oh, I haven't got 6 books. I've got 5 books. I was certain there were 6. Have I missed one? Have I dropped one? Have I dropped one? No, I thought I had 6 books. I've only got 5. Have I dropped... 5 feels like so much of a lesser number than 6. 5... Does 5 even count as a book haul? I don't know that it does. Okay, well, let's double this up by making this a library and a book haul. And by showing you the 3 books I've got from the library recently as well. And then that, there we go. Then there's 8 books. And no one's time has been wasted. So, books that I've recently got my hands on. So I've got 3 that I got from the same community library. David and I met my friend Emma for a walk a couple of weeks ago. And we walked past a community library that Emma said, oh, I saw a book in there earlier that I think you'd like. Oh no, sorry, one of these is from Emma. And then we walked past this community library and I picked up 2 more books. So I got 3 books on that very one trip. So the first one is The Women by Kristin Hannah. Now, you may be forgiven for thinking, but Lauren, I think you've already got a copy of The Women by Kristin Hannah. Well, yeah, I thought I already had a copy, like a proof copy. I can't find it anywhere. I don't know if I've lent it to somebody. Or I don't know what I've done with it. But anyway, Emma gave me her finished copy. And yeah, I've only read one Kristin Hannah book. The Great Alone, was that the one I've read? Let's have a look, because I think she's quite prolific. There's lots. Was there one called The Great Alone? Firefly Lane, that's been made into a TV series, isn't it? Oh, I don't even know The Great Alone is one. The Great Alone. The Great Alone is the second one on this list. I'd obviously just completely swerved it. So what I quite like about Kristin Hannah books, from what I've understood when I've read blurbs or when I've read The Great Alone, is that these are about women. I mean, the title of this book is The Women. But often they're about sort of like women during quite sort of men-centric events. So like maybe men going away to war, and then you're learning about the women at home keeping the homestead going and things like that. And Kristin Hannah always has a little special place in my heart as well, and I feel like I mention this all the time, but when my nan died, she was reading a Kristin Hannah book. Was she reading The Great Alone? I don't think she was. I think she was reading another one. The Nightingale. I've read The Nightingale as well. She was reading The Nightingale. But this one, here we go. So it says, women can be heroes too. What? When 20-year-old nursing student Frankie McGrath hears these unexpected words, it's revelation. Raised on California's idyllic Coronado Island and sheltered by her conservative parents, she has always prided herself in doing the right thing, on being a good girl. But in 1965, the world is changing and she suddenly imagines a different path for her life. When her brother ships out to serve in Vietnam, a war, she impulsively joins the Army Nurse Corps and follows in his path. As green and inexperienced as the young men sent to Vietnam to fight, Frankie and the brave nurses serving alongside her are overwhelmed by the chaos and destruction of war, as well as the unexpected trauma of coming home to a changed America. But Frankie will also discover the true value of female friendship and the heartbreak that love can cause. Female friendship, like that in there as well. So yeah, we will read that at some point. And then these 2 are from the community library. The first one is The Editor's Wife by Claire Chambers. I read Shy Creatures at the beginning of this year, and it was a 5-star. It was the first book I read this year. It was amazing, and I've been raving about it ever since. And wonderfully, I get to revisit it next month, because the book club that I've joined at my local library, that's the book they're reading. So I think I'm going to listen to the audiobook of that and have a lovely time doing so. But I really should read more Claire Chambers, having had such a wonderful time with that. I've already read Small Pleasures, but The Editor's Wife was one that was published a good while ago in comparison to, reissued, 2007. And it says here, when aspiring novelist Christopher Flinders drops out of university to write his masterpiece, his family is sceptical. But when he is taken up by the London editor Owen Goddard and his charming wife Diana, it seems success is just around the corner. And yet on the brink of realising his dream, Christopher makes a desperate misjudgment which results in disaster for all involved. Shattered, he withdraws from London and buries himself in rural Yorkshire. 20 years on, a young academic researching Owen Goddard seeks Christopher out, and he is forced to exhume his past, setting him on a path to life-changing discovery. And just knowing what I do know about Claire Chambers and her writing is it's just going to sort of unfold deliciously, and we're going to be drip fed just the right amount of information at the right time until it all sort of comes together at the end. So yeah, I think that's going on my summer TBR. There we go, that's decided. The next one was Big Swiss by Jen Begin. Emma had read this and was saying it's very, very good. I have seen this. I don't like that it's sticky. I had seen this front cover and think it is a very good front cover. It's two dog noses touching one another. Almost touching one another. I'd also listened to the episode of Weirdos Book Club where they talked about this, and they both enjoyed it very much. So, Big Swiss, that's Greta's nickname for her. She is tall and she's from Switzerland. Well, that's how Greta imagines her. They haven't actually met in person, nor has Greta actually ever been to Switzerland. What Greta doesn't know is that she's about to bump into Big Swiss in the local dog park. A new and not entirely honest relationship is going to be born. A relationship that will transform both of their lives. So yeah, I think from what I remember when hearing it being discussed on the Weirdos Book Club is that Big Swiss... No, hold on. Isn't somebody an influencer and she bumps into her walking dogs and then she sort of makes her own life up to fit her life? I think that's what happens. I think that's going on the summer TBR as well, guys. They just feel very, very readable. This one is definitely going on the summer TBR. I've just received the proof copy of Janice Hadlow's new book, Rules of the Heart. This isn't out, guys, until I think maybe next year. When is it out? When is it out? Oh no, it's out this year, 21st of August, 2025. Oh God, how exciting. Janice Hadlow wrote The Other Bennett Sister, which is a book I read years ago, like about 4 or 5 years ago. Was it during... I remember reading it. David and I were on a holiday in Dartmoor and we were staying in this beautiful Airbnb. It was amazing. And when we laid in the bed, they had these 2 Velux windows where you could see trees out of them just blowing, and it was cosy and it was wonderful. And we spent the week sort of playing board games and eating delicious food. And I was reading The Other Bennett Sister, which was a big chunky book like this one, and reading it in bed and looking at these trees and having a wonderful time. And The Other Bennett Sister, to tell you about The Other Bennett Sister, this isn't even this book, but The Other Bennett Sister is a book told running up to, including and after the events of Pride and Prejudice, told from Mary Bennett's point of view, the middle sister, who's always sort of like scoffed on basically. But Janice Hadlow's writing in that was so amazing. Like, it felt like an extension of Pride and Prejudice. It didn't feel like it had been inspired by. To me, it felt like Pride and Prejudice. It was a really, really great book, and I've listened to the audiobook of it since. But so yeah, very excited to have this. This is not Pride and Prejudice related, but it says here, Lady Henrietta Bessborough seemingly has it all. Wife to a lord and sister to a duchess. She is welcomed in all the most fashionable circles, yet she yearns for something her marriage has failed to offer, true love. When she meets the captivating Lord Granville, 12 years her junior and a famous heartbreaker, she at first dismisses his advantage as opportunistic flattery, but then she sees another side to him, a side she realises she cannot resist. As she plunges into an all-consuming affair, Henrietta finds herself torn between her duty and her deepest desires. For in a world where appearances are everything, each anxious but besotted step she takes leads her ever closer to scandal and ruin. God. I can't wait to read that. It's a nice big chunky one as well. So yes, this is going on the summer TBR as well, which has already been established. And then I've got a non-fiction book called Smartphone Nation by Dr. Caitlin Rager. Why we're all addicted to screens and what you can do about it. And David and I have really been taking steps to spend less time on phones. We're both quite bad on phones. We're definitely not the worst people we know on their phones. Like, I could quite happily pop my phone out of the room for half a day, but when I've got it, it just takes my attention like to the phone there. We don't have phones when we go to bed now. We set alarms, and so when we're both in bed, we don't have phones. And yeah, there's just steps that we're taking. So I'll be interested to read more about this. So this is, I mean, I'm going to read you the blurb, but we all know what this is about. We live in the age of the smartphone, relying on our devices and checking them multiple times an hour. The effect of this digital addiction on our mental health, our children and our society amounts to a major public health crisis. In reality, being part of the online world is essential for much of a modern life, and understanding that world is crucial. Smartphone Nation gives you the tools to do just that, safely and critically. For parents, it also sets out how to navigate this tricky terrain with children of all ages. You'll learn how to game your algorithm, catch misinformation, spot and tackle microdosing of harmful content, approach the attention economy, which prioritises engagement at any cost, improve your digital nutrition for better mental health. This pioneering practical book will equip you and your family not only to survive in the digital space, but to thrive. So yeah, I think I'll find a lot of this very relatable. And then the 3 books I've got from the library, 2 of which I've got to read pretty quickly because they've got loads of reservations on. This one hasn't. This is Kiss of a Spiderwoman by Manuel Puig, and oh, I don't like that font at all. And it's all so, oh God, that's put me off instantly. So I've got my reading journal, whereby I'm writing in what books I'm reading, and it sort of sets out like the month of what I'm going to do for my booktube channel and stuff like that. But it's also got lots of recommendations from authors, and this, Kiss of a Spiderwoman, was one of the recommendations. Sometimes they talk all night long. In the still darkness of their Buenos Aires prison cell, Molina reweaves the glittering and fragile stories of the films he loves, and the cynical Valentin listens. Valentin believes in the just cause that makes all the suffering bearable. Molina believes in the magic of love that makes all else endurable. None of this is making any sense to me. Though they seemingly share little other than a cell, the two form a bond so intimate and a relationship so profoundly affecting that only the other could understand. Well, that blurb hasn't got me going at all. But the other blurb must have really got me going. Let's just read the first line just to see. Chapter 1. Something a little strange, that's what you notice, that she's not a woman like all others. She looks fairly young, 25, maybe a little more. Petite face, a little cat-like, small turned-up nose. The shape of her face, it's more roundish than oval, broad forehead, pronounced cheeks too. But then they come down to a point, like with cats. What about her eyes? We'll see. We'll see. That feels to me like a book that's never going to get read out from the library. Then we've got 2 books, like I said, that I've got lots and lots of reservations on. The first one is the new Taylor Jenkins Reid, Atmosphere, a Love Story. Taylor Jenkins Reid, I enjoy her books very much. None of them are ever my faves, but they're just very enjoyable, readable experiences. So like Daisy Jones and the Six, maybe that was my fave that year. I did enjoy that, and I've revisited that a few times. And I read earlier this year The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, enjoyed that a lot. Malibu Rising, I've read that. Yeah, they just sort of, they feel to me very much like sort of Jackie Collins books that I used to enjoy reading when I was younger. So yeah, I get an enjoyable experience out of them, but none of them ever really stay with me. And therefore they never make it to like my best books or anything, but I always have a really enjoyable experience. But let's find out what's going on. It's the summer of 1980. Astrophysics professor Joan Goodwin begins training to be an astronaut at Houston Johnson Space Center, alongside an exceptional group of fellow candidates. Top Gun pilot Hank Redmond. Did somebody say Jackie Collins? Yes, we did. Mission specialist John Griffin and Lydia Danes, warm-hearted Donna Fitzgerald, and Vanessa Ford, the magnetic and mysterious aeronautical engineer. As the new astronauts prepare for their first flight, Joan finds a passion and a love she never imagined, and begins to question everything she believes about her place in the observable universe. Then, in December of 1984, on mission STS-LR9, everything changes in an instant. Well, yeah, like I said, I'm gonna have a lovely time. And it's got a quote on the back from Kristin Hanna, who wrote The Women, and also from Andy Weir, who wrote Project Hail Mary, that I saw the trailer for yesterday, Ryan Gosling in it. And then the last one I've got is the Kellerby Code by Johnny Sweet, and my friend Emma had said she'd read this recently, and I was like, that's weird, I've got a reservation on that at the library. It's just come out in paperback. And then this week I was listening to Johnny Sweet on the Adam Buxton podcast. Apparently this is very much like Saltburn, which was completely coincidental because Johnny Sweet wrote this before Saltburn came out, and then when him and Emerald Fennell, who was the director of Saltburn, were having a chat, they were like, wow, both of our things that we have made, a film and a book, sound very, very similar. I believe it's about this butler chap here. So it says, in a world he cannot afford, Edward is just about getting by. He spends his days scurrying after his friends, doing everything he can to prove his value. But not to worry, the attention of his beloved Stanza and the respite he finds in our ancestral home, Kellerby House, provide all the reward he needs. Until he realises that Stanza is in love with his best friend, Robert, forcing Edward to reevaluate what those closest to him are actually worth. No price is too high to stop the life he has strived for slipping from his grip, especially when he won't be the one paying. So yeah, we're excited about that. So those are the books. I think this might be going straight back to the library. But yeah, 3 books to add to my summer TBR for definite. 2 that I've got to get read to because they've got reservations on. Let me know if you've read any of these books that I've mentioned. Let me know what books you've got your hands on recently. And I'll see you all again soon for another BookTube video. Goodbye!